A special type of airdrop campaign is known as a lockdrop, and this requires you to lock in some liquidity and you'll be able to get some tokens in return. I've been quite apprehensive about joining these kind of lockdrops, but since I have some funds on the Arbitrum network, I've decided to give the SpartaDEX lockdrop a try, and today I'll be showing you how to participate in it, as well as some of the potential rewards that you could receive. So before I begin about this entire lockdrop campaign, I would like to say that this is not financial advice, and I'm just sharing with you my experience participating in this lockdrop. So I advise you to understand the risks of locking up your liquidity before you participate in this campaign. SpartaDEX is a decentralized exchange on the Arbitrum network, and currently they are about to launch their SPARTA token on the 3rd of August. For this lockdrop campaign, you can lock your positions into any of these liquidity pools, and the amount of tokens that you receive depends on the size of your position as well as the duration that you are locking up your funds, which can last from 2 weeks all the way until 52 weeks. At the Token Generation Event, or TGE, on the 3rd of August, you'll be able to receive about 50% of your allocation, while the rest of your tokens will be released on a 6-month linear vesting schedule. The price of the SPARTA token could range anywhere from 28 cents to almost $28. So this lock drop could be quite lucrative, where all you need to do is just lock in some tokens for a certain period of time, and you'll be able to receive this amount of profit. You need to deposit your liquidity in the form of these 5 different pools that are found on decentralized exchanges on the Arbitrum network, including SushiSwap and Camelot. If you are familiar with the concept of liquidity pools, you need to deposit 2 different tokens within the pool, and in the case for the SpartaDEX lockdrop, you'll be locking up your liquidity with this decentralized exchange, and in return you'll receive some SPARTA tokens. Initially, I was apprehensive about it because of the risk of impermanent loss when you are depositing liquidity. And if you're not too sure about this concept, it mainly has to do with the opportunity cost of depositing your funds into this pool when there are any fluctuations in the price of these 2 tokens. I'll be leaving a video in the description that helps to explain this concept further. The good thing is that SpartaDEX has enabled the USDC.E/USDT liquidity pool, which means that you are depositing 2 stablecoins inside, and that reduces the chances of impermanent loss. I decided to deposit about 100 USD worth of stablecoins, but if you have all of these different assets, you'll be able to deposit into the different pools as well. But one thing you may want to note is that if you deposit your funds into the last 2 pools, the amount of SPARTA tokens that are allocated to them is lower compared to these 3 pools. The problem with the Arbitrum network is that there are 2 different versions of the USDC token. Circle recently released its native USDC token, while if you have bridged your funds using platforms like the Arbitrum Bridge or Stargate Finance, you'll be getting the bridge version of USDC, which is also known as USDC.E. If you have the native USDC token, then you actually need to swap it, the bridge USDC, using a decentralized exchange so that you'll be able to deposit your liquidity into these pools. If this is what you are experiencing, then I would recommend that you use the Matcha platform to perform your swap between USDC and USDC.E. This is because Matcha is also rumored to have an airdrop, and if you generate some trading volume, there's a possibility that this could lead to a higher token allocation. I'll leave the contract addresses for both of these tokens in the description below, and all you need to do is to copy the contract address and paste it here, and this will show you the native USDC coin. While for the bridge version of USDC, you can also copy the address and paste it here, and this will be the ticker for the bridge version of USDC. You can do this for any pools, and the main thing is that you need to have tokens that are of similar USD value so that you'll be able to deposit them into one of these liquidity pools. So now that you have your tokens in equal proportion, the next step will be to add them into one of these liquidity pools. The decentralized exchange that I've chosen is Camelot, and what you can do is to go to the Earn tab and select pools. So this will show you a lot of the different pools that you can deposit your funds into, and you can search for any of these 5 pools where you're looking to deposit your liquidity into. So in this case, I'll just be choosing the USDT USDC.E pool, and over here I can select create a position. This will then allow me to enter both of these stable coins in about the same proportion. So let's say you want to enter about 20 USDT, then based on the proportion, you need to have about 18 USDC.E tokens to be able to deposit your funds into the pool. So there will be 3 main transactions that you need to perform, which is approving both of these tokens as well as the transaction to deposit your funds. These were the different transaction hashes for all these 3 transactions, and in total I spent about 35 cents worth of Ethereum to process all of them. The same concept can also be applied to SushiSwap, where you can search for any of these tokens, and in this case I can also select the USDT/USDC.E pool. Say for this example that we want to deposit into the Ethereum and ARB token pool. And you see that you need to add your tokens in equal proportion based on the USD value. In this case, I'll be adding about 30 cents worth of Arbitrum tokens as well as 30 cents worth of Ethereum. So the thing is that this will always be in proportion. And in the case if any of these tokens changes in price, it will affect the number of tokens that you'll be withdrawing in the end. So that's just something that you need to take note of when you are depositing assets that are not stable coins, as it runs this risk of impermanent loss. Unfortunately, SpartaDEX only works with SushiSwap and Camelot. So if you have already deposited liquidity on Uniswap, you need to withdraw your liquidity from this pool and then deposit them back into either of these DEXs. I do have some Arbitrum and ETH tokens on SushiSwap that I've already deposited inside. I do need to remove my liquidity and then deposit it into either Camelot or SushiSwap. But again, this will cost you some gas fees, so that's also something that you need to consider. The process of airdrops can be quite overwhelming, especially since there are so many projects that you need to keep track of. If you like a quick summary every week, you can subscribe to my Substack newsletter, where I provide a weekly recap of all of the different tasks that I did throughout the week so that you can follow along. And hopefully both of us will be able to get some airdrops by performing all of these tasks. By subscribing to my Substack newsletter, you'll also be able to gain access to my airdrop tracker. And this helps you to keep track of all of the different projects that I'm currently hunting for an airdrop. And within each section, you'll be able to see some guides that I've already created. All you need to do is to sign up for my Substack newsletter, which I'll leave the link in the description below. Now that we have already obtained our liquidity pool tokens, the next step will be to lock our liquidity into the SpartaDEX pools. I've already locked some liquidity in the Wrap Ethereum USDC.E pools, as well as the USDT USDC.E, with a total of about 114 USD worth of liquidity inside. If you scroll all the way down to the total liquidity, there's about 2.5 million worth of liquidity that has already been deposited into the stablecoin pool, while the rest of them is roughly about 1.5 million. The allocation of these Sparta tokens will depend on both the amount that you have deposited as well as your lockup period. So this was a previous recording of me depositing my funds into one of these pools. You need to choose the decentralized exchange that you're depositing from, and you can choose between 2 to 52 weeks, which will determine your allocation. And so I deposited these tokens right at the start for the Wrap Ethereum and USDC.E pool, and it estimated my rewards to be about 68 Sparta tokens. But right now, because more liquidity has already been deposited and locked inside, I will now only receive about 3.94 Sparta, and that may decrease even more as more liquidity is being added, because the phase 1 will end in the next 5 days. This is my very first time trying one of these lock drops, and hopefully I'll be able to get some returns by locking up this liquidity. And right now they mentioned that Sparta's price is about $7.50, so roughly about getting this 42 Sparta tokens, I should be able to get about roughly $300 worth of profit. Only 50% of these tokens will be unlocked during the token generation event, which is on the 3rd of August. This will be the main campaign until the 30th of July, and between 30th of July and 3rd of August, there will be another phase where it involves locking Sparta liquidity. So what I understand about this campaign is that you'll be locking either the Sparta or the USDC.E tokens, or even both of them, and then you can choose which pool you want to lock your Sparta reward. The tokens that will lock within phase 2 cannot be unlocked, and I'm still a bit confused about this entire part of the campaign, so if you do understand it a bit more, you can also let me know in the comments below. Based on my strategy now, I'll just be adding maybe about 1 or 2 Sparta tokens inside just to try it out and see how it works, so that I'll be more familiar with such lock drop campaigns if it does happen in the future. Do let me know in the comments if you'll be participating in this lock drop event, and also let me know if you still have any questions regarding how to participate in it. There are also tons of other airdrops that you could qualify for, and you can check out my video here where I show you one of them that does not require you to spend any funds at all.